Hey everyone, this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com, and I've got a cool little treat here. Lowrance has recently come out with their second generation Hook series. This is the Hook2 4X and then the Hook2 5 right here. And we're going to be focusing on the Hook2 4X in this video. And the next video I'll do it on the Hook2 5. Truth be told, I actually opened this and did a video already. And I didn't like the quality or the video, the way it came out, so I actually tried to package everything back as best I could. So this is not a virgin opening the box. And as I usually do, because we're fishfindermounts.com, I usually show you at the end of the video, or once I open everything up out of the box, is how the thing looks on our product, our mounts. So it is kind of a little bit of a segue to our products, obviously, and then our products have power in them. They have a battery, so it'll power the product up for you. So Hook2, 4X, and 5 here. 5's next. We'll do that in a separate video. So I'll just put that aside for everybody to focus on the Hook2 4X. And the Hook2 4X, what they've done in the Hook2 series, the Hook second generation of the Hook series from Lowrance, is they've got 3 transducers they've called different names, and it's kind of a good idea. I kind of like the monikers they've used. It's the Bullet, which is this one. This is the Bullet. It says on the front there too, but you can see right up here, GPS Bullet. That's your transducer. This is the actual. There's 2 Hook2s that I'm aware of when I was talking to Lowrance about this. This is the one with the GPS. The other one doesn't. It's a basic GPS. It just basically, if the camera would look at this here, it just shows a track of where you've gone, like if you have that feature going or what have you, and I think you can, from what I understand, mark waypoints on it. So if you want to go back and fish certain places where maybe you had a strike or what have you, you can do that. So they're kind of following suit with Garmin. Garmin kind of did that with its Striker series a year and a half or so ago when it first came out 2 years ago, somewhere in there. So, and then the other thing that they changed on the Hook series, now a little history on Lowrance, these versions of finders. There was the Lowrance, what was it again? The HDI 4. And then they came out with the Lowrance Chirp 4, and then they came out with Lowrance Hook 4, and now it's Lowrance Hook 2 4. And those ones were actually like this. The earlier ones prior to this model were mounted vertically, and what they've changed in this generation is that it is mounted horizontally, and it kind of actually. Humminbird, they came out with their Helix series, super popular, great finders too. And so Lowrance is sort of kind of in a sense going down that path as well now. Instead of having the vertical style screen, they're going horizontally. I guess the focus is on the contour of the bottom, and if you think about it. Anyways, whatever it may be, it's a great looking finder here, and we're going to open it up here. So it's got the broadband sounder, as they say, advanced signal processing, IPX7 waterproof, and you got your warranty, Solar Max display, so it's supposed to perform well on sun, I suppose that means. So we'll have to test that out this coming fishing season. Right now it's early January, so I'm a little ways away from being able to actually use these products on the water, so I'm excited to do that. And one of the things that Lowrance really tells, if you look at they have a great YouTube channel, Lowrance does, and one of the things they're focusing on with this series is ease of use for the customer. So the jury's out for me on that. I'll look at it and see how much of a difference it is. But here is what's inside the box. So you've got your control head right here. I don't know if we put it back together as well as we should have or could have, but we did our best. Fuse. They used to not have fuses included with these products at this level of costs, but they do now, which is good. Good on them, because other fish finder manufacturers do.
like Garmin. And this is the transducer. So I'll just pull this guy out right now here quickly for everybody to see. It is very small, this transducer. This is the bullet. And actually, I was meaning to talk about that more. They have the bullet, the split shot, and the triple shot. So it's kind of like fishing acronyms or fishing similes or parallels. And you can see it's not that long. It's quite small. It's like 2.5 inches, let's call it. Yeah, about 2.5 inches in total length from the mounting point here to the end. And the width of the bullet transducer is 1.4 or 1.35, let's call it, inches in there on the calipers. So there is the transducer, and we've got our mounting post right here. One of the things that are quite notable to me for sure, and you got your literature of course, your manuals and stuff. One of the things that's quite interesting to me and of note to me being MrFishfinderMounts.com is that this base, the older version, as we talked about already, now let's take this guy out. The older versions, I should have brought one up here so people could see. So the older versions were mounted like this, but this one here is like that, right? And we've established that earlier on. Now this actual mounting post, the older versions had actually a rotational capability. It wasn't very good. It was quite rough. It was like click click. It was really hard to turn it actually first when you got them at new too. But this guy doesn't have that capability at all, which is fine for us. And if you're buying our product or using our fish finder mounts that are making all fish finders portable, our product has built-in swivel plate there. So you mount it on a plate that actually swivels 360 degrees for you, however you wish to adjust that, of course. So there you go. We can put this together. It's all mechanical. There's nothing more than, it was actually like this when I got it. Thing of note too. If you don't look at the manual, like a lot of guys tend to just want to figure things out without looking at the manual. I tend to be one of those people, I have to admit. So it's a fun game, guess how it works. So this guy here, which is pretty ingenious, good little mechanical sort of idea, design they came up with here. It slides in this track. You can kind of see the post moving in and out here. And what this does, so when you push that down, many of you may guess it, but you can push these in then. You can push those guys in. And of course that mates with the back feature of the actual fish finder itself. So what I'm kind of showing you guys here is how to put together out of the box. And there you go, it's locked in. And if you want to adjust this, like if you want to lock that in like for good, you would pull this guy back up, and then now you can't bend the sides in to adjust anything. This is actually kind of a bit dangerous. You could rip a fingernail off or something when you first start to use it. I've loosened up a bit, I guess, but it's kind of a bit sudden, when you push on this. Now, you can, again, adjust this. So you have to actually pinch these in and then find the next click in the device or in the pattern here, their grid, their groove system, notch system they've got. So there, we've got it on there, and that's what it looks like. So that's not super exciting because you always want to see some kind of action, like some power action. You want to see it come on and what the system looks like when it's on. So there's the transducer, and going more into this, this is actually an integrated transducer and power cord. They're together. They're split off the same connector. So there's one connector on the back, as you guys can see right there. And this guy here has notches to try to give you the hints as to which way it goes in. This is another change. It's another significant change for this level of product for Lowrance. So again, they went from this to this. They went from being able to do this to not being able to do that, and they took away, they used to have screw lock connectors. Like you'd have to, they were threaded so that, you know, you couldn't just yank it out, yank the connector out. So that was one place where Lowrance was really winning the party, so to speak, winning the game in design, was, in my opinion, having screw-on connectors, albeit sometimes the form factor of these smaller guys are so tight that it's hard to get your fingers in and actually do the screw-on, screw-off thing. But nevertheless, it provided that extra certainty that things aren't just going to get yanked off. So they've gone to press fit like their competitors, Humminbird, their main competitors, Humminbird and Garmin. So we'll just put this guy together. I'm looking at the pin formation. I don't know if the camera can see that. Maybe come up and over top and look inside here because of the light. And then of course this guy has a pin formation. So we're gonna also look at that for a hint, and that should tell us enough to be able to. So it looks like this little notch up here, this little hump is going to be the top of it. And by the way, when you guys are trying to, if you call us and are saying I have such and such transducer, if you want to find out what transducer you have, all the manufacturers put a label on their actual transducer cord, and it tells you the transducer part number or description or what have you. Usually there's a part number. It looks like Lowrance is moving to more of a description, which I like better anyways. It's a bullet, right, as we discussed already. And then the next transducer up would be your split shot, and then the one further than that would be your triple shot. So we have everything together and we still have no power. This is how your power cable, this is the power part of the cable. There's no NMEA, like networking connectivity, which is good. Like I think Garmin included that in theirs, but whoever uses a little 4-inch screen and networks it, I don't know. Maybe some people do, but I'm not gonna. And none of my customers will, because they're looking for a portable solution. Usually they want to be able to bring their fish finder on multiple boats or kayaks, canoes, whatever it might be. So here we have their power cable. So let's show you, this is sort of the second part. So if you're not interested in seeing our very cool magnetic transducer mount and our mount that gives you power, then you might want to move on to the next video that you're going to watch on YouTube today. But this might be of very good interest to you, so just maybe stick around if you can. When you get our product, it's going to be, and if the camera can kind of come up over top and look down like a bird's eye view, you're going to get the product. It's going to be in a box, and it's going to have all these components in it with some literature as well. That literature is not here except for a brochure. The literature being the instruction drawings and things of how to put everything together. It's fairly straightforward. So we'll just show you how that works. So when you get this, the instructions are going to tell you to take this apart, essentially. And we'll do that now. So I like to call this our battery box platform. And in here is the battery. Now, you're going to want to take battery from fishfindermounts.com. We are making all fish finders portable. And you're going to see this at the bottom. And you're going to take your clamp. You're going to take these two screws out of the clamp. You're going to take your battery box here. You're going to put it and line it up with the holes in the clamp. Your battery box base. You're going to take these screws that were in the clamp that we just took out and put them back in. We've left all the parts kind of sort of mostly assembled as much as possible so that it gives good hints as to what you will likely need to be doing with them. And you just make sure your torque, if you're using one of these drivers, isn't set too high. So there you go. That is your clamp on base here. You're going to take your battery. There's a notch here, and there's a mating sort of nub on this guy right here on the top. And you're going to take this guy. All of our stuff is stainless steel. All the hardware that's coming with this. This is our 5 amp hour magnetic bolt mount kit. Comes with a magnetic transducer mount. And there's a couple of options. You're going to want to put this lid on, but just before I forget, you're actually going to want to take your swivel plate. Let's just take this guy. Here's our swivel plate here, and this is the thing that's going to provide the actual rotational capability for this Lowrance Hook 2 4X with GPS and the bullet transducer in there. We take that guy, and I've taken the 1/4 bolt. I should show that more detail. I'll have to dump these screws out. So here is a hex trap here, and it keeps it from, it's nice because it keeps this bolt from spinning when it's in there. You take your compression washer, rubber washer, neoprene washer, put it on top. You take your mounting plate and you put it up here. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to put the mounting plate on right yet, because what we want to do, again, remember to line these parts up. This is where the power cable exits the battery box platform. And we're going to take our screws. We can assemble this together now at this point. There's one other screw here, right there. And we'll assemble this guy back together. And what we're going to do next is actually, you're going to get this cable package too with a nice decal from fishfindermounts.com. We just actually introduced having the decal for everybody here and all of their packages that we sell now. So you can put that on your boat or your kayak or your canoe or whatever it is, kind of a watercraft that you have, or your vehicle or whatever you want to put it on. And you're going to have this power cable set up section here. I've already actually got this. This wouldn't be in there because it's already in the kit. We've had it assembled in advance, so I'll just take that one out because that wasn't part of it. So this power cable here has to somehow attach to the battery box, and you can see there's this power cable coming out of the battery box here. The 5 amp hour 12 volt batteries in here. This is attached to that battery, as you would have seen, and there's a cap on the plug so you can keep it all capped and keep it from getting dirty and all that. And we've got to attach this to that somehow. You can see that this is red and black, so is this. Black to black, red to red. Red is positive, black is negative. It's DC. All fish finders are 12 volts. All commercial or like consumer style fish finders are going to be 12 volts, like you see. So that's the kind of battery you're going to need, something that gives you 12 volts. Anyways, so we have to get this turned into a plug, like another plug that mates with this plug perfectly. So, in fact, in our kit, we give you all that. We give you those very things that you need to make the operation seamless and super easy. So here are a couple of tube or butt splice connectors, they're called, or known as. And you would take these guys, again, red to red, black to black, and we're going to do that here for you. You would just insert it in. You don't need to do any soldering or anything because we have this already thought out for you and designed for you and made for you. And we're just going to take this guy and we're going to crimp it. And you may not have these fancy tools like I have. In that case, you could use, in a pinch, no pun intended, you could be using, let's say, the back of some pliers, depending on the style of pliers, of course. You could be using like a vise. I mean, those are pretty crude. And if, you know, you can find something better, use that. But in the end of the day, you know, let's say you're at the lake and you didn't realize you needed some of these tools or something, you know, maybe even a rock or two, you might have to smash things together, I don't know, but I wouldn't advise that. But, you know, the whole idea is what I'm getting at is these things squish together, they're crimped together, that's what's happening. You're crushing the metal elements within the connector or the terminal to the actual stripped wire. So you have a really nice job there. You do a little pull test there, make sure. So here we have a power cable now. So this whole thing now meshes perfectly with the battery box here. Now before I get to that point, let's do one other thing. We're going to take the fish finder off here. Again, remember this for rats. You push that guy down, then you can squish this guy in and pull the control head off. And let's put the control head there, because what we want to do, what we're interested in doing is actually mounting this onto our plate. Now the holes, I've looked at this before, we already have the hole pattern in our plate right there, as you can see. If the camera comes over top, you can probably see everything. They provide hardware, screws that are much more aggressive than you really need. This thing here is less than a pound heavy. It's probably a half a pound. In fact, actually the Piranha Max we just reviewed in a video just prior to this, it's even heavier than this slightly. But we provide a nice little pack of screws for you with our kit that work perfectly, putting everything nicely together here and onto our 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch swivel plate. So we'll just put those on here for you fine folks to see. Maybe I'll do it with a hand driver to get her started. These swivel plates are designed so that if, let's say, you know, there's a new fish finder in the future that comes out that, you know, we didn't know anything about, and it had a different hole pattern, you can drill your own hole pattern if you need to or want to. Well, you would need to in that case, so you would be able to do that because we've designed a nice thick plate so that you can drill some pilot holes and then screw into those pilot holes with the screws that you want to use. In this case, we're using ours that we provide in the kit for you. We'll finish these guys off. Let's bring the torque down a bit. So there you go. You've got the Lowrance Hook 4 or Hook 2 4X GPS base all assembled right onto our mounting plate. And how does that work, Wade, you ask? Well, here you go. You put it onto here over the 1/4-20 hex bolt, and then you take your T-knob, your clamping knob, your whatever you'd like to call it, and butterfly knob, and you can swivel that to where you want it to be and then clamp it down. It's not going to move, it's stuck exactly where you want it to be. You'll notice the clamp has these nice rubber scuff guards on it so that it doesn't hurt your boat, like, you know, damage the finish. Or let's say you're renting boats. A lot of guys buy our kits, they go on fly-in trips, they go on excursions to famous lakes, let's say in Ontario or wherever it may be. Lake of the Woods is an example, wherever it may be, and they're renting boats. They're not their own boat. So now what we have here, everybody, is we have a huge pile of cabling. What do we do with that? Because this is like, you know, managing this would not be nice in a fishing vessel where you have all of your tackle and rods and everything. So what I like to do, and what we've designed our system to be able to do for you, is you will also get in the package some cable ties here. We'll take those out. And you'll get your nice decal from fishfindermounts.com. And this is another cable. I'll explain that at the end. And what we'll do is we'll bunch up these guys. We want to keep, in this case, because the cords are kind of like, the transducer is split off the power cable, or vice versa, however you want to think of that. We just want to separate everything, and we want to kind of coil it back up, because it's a nightmare having all these cords everywhere. And the manufacturer's kind of created a pattern already for that to happen. And there's the crimp job we just did. Positive, negative, black to black, red to red. If you have some other wires on your fish finder, let's say you don't have a Lowrance, you have another one. These are universal mounting kits, so you can put myriads of different fish finders on there. They're all compatible. You may have some other wires. Those would be for networking. If you're using our product, you likely don't need them. Just cut them off or tape them back or what have you. You just need the red and black. That's all you need. And if you want to have a fuse, you can keep a fuse in line. It's up to you. Now, this is the transducer cable here now, folks. So I'm gonna also wrap that up to some extent as well, because with our kit, you can keep the fish finder close to the transducer. You can have it far away too. You'll have to determine how much lead length you need for your transducer. And by the way, while I'm doing this, I should also recommend to everybody, make sure that you tether your transducer down somewhere within the boat, because if it was hit somehow and it was to be yanked, it's tethered to our kit in this case, and the kit's clamped to your boat. But if you didn't have something like our kit here, you might want to tether it down regardless somewhere else somehow. Some guys, many of our customers just buy our magnetic transducer mount for kayaks and different things. Sometimes they have this already solved, the actual control head part solved, and they want to keep it that way, so they just need a transducer mount, which allows you not to have to drill holes in your boat. And I'm going to show you that too, which is awesome. What I like to do, see everything's kind of together. I've left some lead length here, right here, probably about, I don't know, 3 feet. But I've got this nice bunched group of cables here, and I'm going to take my one of these cable ties, and I want to tie it all together. And I'm going to leave it like this probably from now on. And I'm just kind of recommending that you might want to think about doing it this way as well. And there you go, it's all together now. So if you take this off or on, it's always going to be nice and bunched up for you. You don't have to redo this part. Now, we're going to need this power plug to go to this power plug. And this is where we're coming to the crescendo of everything, because you're going to see the Lowrance Hook 2 4X GPS be powered up. And we're going to take these cable ties, and you can use any cable ties. These are the ones we include, but you can buy more or have your own, whatever. You could even use some like little Velcro ties. There's different things out there that you could use if you decide to in the future. Use something different, or you buy your own, whatever. Because these are disposable. You could take them off and clip them off and then do it again with some other ones. So here you have, what we're showing you here is some cable slots. Cable tie slots. Integrated right into the battery box. You see how that works? And it's really nice because it keeps everything nice and tight and kind of managed together. It's beautiful. You don't want a big mess. So now this guy is set up and pretty much ready to power up. But I'll show you also on the front side. Some of the manufacturers have very thick cabling. So the front side also has slots. You might put a set of cables on one side. Let's say you have a separate transducer cable and a power cable. You might put it on both sides, so you'll have cables tied to both sides. We'll just have the spin of this, so again, you guys can look at it, and we will power it up here for you right now. We're going to move our transducer out of the way. Here is our power cable here. I'll do it backside so everybody can see how it's all plugged together. You got I've taken the cap already off this guy, right? The cap looks like this. Let's just put it back on for now, just so you can see. So you'd have this. Take this guy off, and voila, plugged together. Thing of beauty. Actually, let's do it on I don't want the transducer. Let's do it over this way. You can just kind of tuck it in if you want somehow. I like to leave it fairly loose because ultimately the reason why I like to do that is because I want to maybe swivel this another way. And if you have the cables too tight to the battery box, then they're gonna be kind of tight and holding it from swiveling. So you want to kind of keep some lead length there. So there you have everything together, and it's ready to power on. Let's do that. there you have it. And the transducer is attached. Let's see, accept. This is sort of the enter button right here on this guy. And just, it is quite basic. It wasn't as basic as I sort of thought at first, but it's still quite basic. So what we have is you can swap between the different screens here. This is your flasher, as everyone knows, or most people know. This is your GPS, your waypoints can be stored in here and everything. And then of course this is your sonar here. And it's in demo mode right now, so we're just going to go to the GPS here. So like, let's say you want to, it's running now, it's pretending it's running here where you know, it's moving along, and it's saying, okay, well, you're this such and such depth where you are now. It's pretty shallow where this guy is. So now it's turned into 12 feet suddenly. So if you hit this, if you hold it down, then you can save your waypoint where you were. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, you can put down what you've. So you can put a little symbol. Okay, there are some fish here. I saw some fish here. So you put that down, and then you can save it. And then we could probably zoom in on it. Yeah, we can zoom in. Zoom out here. Zoom over, move over, and there you go. So you can see the little fishy sort of points that we saved there. So that's kind of cool. That's pretty simple and straightforward. The Garmin Striker series, I didn't find it as straightforward on that system. So that's well done, Lowrance, and they've got your coordinates showing here, how deep it was and all of that. And if you hit this power button, it brings up this menu. And so there's not much to this menu really. The settings is the thing that's the deepest, the greatest depth to it. You can turn on the brightness if you want of the screen. If you go here, you can change, I guess, the size of the text and everything. You know, medium, small, small, bottom overlay, middle overlay, sorry, top overlay, and that's the depth, that's the temperature. I guess you can change this to something different. So you hit enter and you can change it to something else. But yeah, the settings part of it, this is going to be where, you know, you can fiddle around with a bit more of the, you know, modify or customize, if you will, the system a little more to your liking. Let's see here, sonar. Okay, let's go to the sonar depth offset. Well, that's okay. So your transducer is X, you know, distance below the boat because of where you've mounted it, and the water line against your boat is maybe a foot, so you offset it by a foot, so you know you're measuring exactly from the top of the water surface all the way down to the bottom point. So that's kind of cool. I like that. It's nice to have that. But I mean, gee, you're not doing a lot more than that with the menu system. If we go back there, settings, sonar, that's all you can really change. Simulator system. Yeah, so it's super basic. There's not a lot of depth to it, which they've done, I think, because, you know, I do have a lot of customers that call, and they're new guys. They're new with fish finders. They haven't done a lot. You haven't had a lot of experience with them, and it's a bit intimidating. Not everybody is an electronic gadget guru. So we've got this powered up. We've got everything together, and then the next thing is, so that would clamp to the side of your boat. You can see this clamp here, this nice aluminum clamp with these scuff guards on it, and we'll use this piece of plywood I have, 3/8 plywood I think it is. So it's, you know, it's not quite half an inch, but it's pretty thick. It's going to be a lot thicker than your boat would be. Your typical aluminum boats or canoes, a lot thicker. But yeah, you just take this guy and situated onto the side of your boat, if you will, or even to the back transom area of the boat. And then you can just clamp her on nice and steady and strong like so. So there you have it, all clamped onto your boat. But the next thing is you're going to ask is, okay, well, Wade, what about the transducer? What am I going to do with the transducer? How do you make that portable? So, you know, for the longest time, the only real kind of solution out there that was quite popular and well known was a suction cup, which, excuse the pun, but sucked, in my opinion. I didn't like them, so we developed this magnetic transducer mount, which is the bee's knees. And this is how it will come in your kit. It'll be in this box. You can buy them separately just like this as well. This is our X-Power, our most powerful conventional one, where it acts like an invisible clamp. And that guy was in there as well with your nice decal. So this is how it's going to come out. And that is the X-Power version. So you can upgrade to this version when you're on our website, shop, left top corner of our website, fishfindermounts.com. And you're looking at, you want to get a boat mount like you just saw here. This will come in the boat mount, but you can choose either a 15mm version or the X-Power version. This is the more powerful one. It's a little bit to upgrade, not much though. And you can take this guy apart and start to set up your transducer. And how does this device work? Well, I'm going to show you that. So if this was a transom mount, we're going to want to set it up this way. And you'll see why in a little bit, so just bear with me, folks. I'll just take this guy, put it back together. There is an extension arm. You push these screws out and you rearrange them so that you can see how things mate together. This is the profile of the ends here mate together. This is the wrong way, like this would be this way, of course, though. I'm just showing you how it mates together, so it just gives you a clue how that works. But you would push this longer one out, move it down to the bottom, push the short one out, move it up here, you know, and reinsert the wing nuts here, or the butterfly nuts, or whatever you want to call them. And you can take this off, and you're essentially going to take this bullet transducer from Lowrance, and we're going to insert it onto here. Put this guy back on, and put this back on too. And now we have a transducer that's ready to mount on your boat, believe it or not. And this is set up for the transom. You can also actually twist this 90 degrees and have it set up for like a canoe or a kayak, where it can go on the side of the boat if you don't have a transom or stern. And you have to twist this guy. This is the inside magnet, the inside of your boat from fishfindermounts.com. You twist this guy and then you pull it off. Now keep your fingers away from the face of the magnets, because if you have them close together and suddenly snaps together, because they're very powerful, you can actually really pinch your fingers pretty badly. It's not a nice feeling. We're going to take this guy and we're going to just show you this. Of course, your boat's only going to be usually about like you see this ply here, one ply of the wood is maybe, I don't know, it's 1/36, 1/24 of an inch thick or something. The board that we've got here is 0.35 inches thick. So we have our transducer here ready to mount. You've got 16 super magnets on it. We're just going to take it, and there it is on our boat, ready to go, mounted in the whole enchilada. And you can adjust this angle if you want, and then just tighten it down nice and tight to whatever you want it to be. I'm obviously holding things up with my chin here, so it's a little bit hard to fool around with everything. But you can put it on kayaks, canoes, all sorts of different watercraft, and of course you don't have to drill holes in your boat. And on a small aluminum boat where the thickness of the walls of the boat are only like a couple credit cards thick, which is a lot less thick than this, it's on there so strong, so powerfully, that you can go 20 to 30 miles per hour in most cases without it actually being an issue coming off the boat or anything. So it is a fabulous, amazing, portable solution. You don't have to drill holes in your boat. If you rent boats, what have you, this is an amazing solution for your needs. So give us a call, 1-855-784-3474. This is Wade from fishfindermounts.com looking at the Lowrance Hook 2 4X with GPS and the bullet transducer here, and our 5 amp hour magnetic boat mount kit with the X Power upgraded transducer mount here. So give us a call and we'd be glad to help you with your fish finder mounting needs. We are making all fish finders portable. Thanks for watching, everyone.